Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Engine Builder Show. For our show today, we will be talking about why you hit a revenue ceiling, and this is how you fix it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and enjoy the show. Good morning, everybody.
There was always a ton to learn. I'm not sure how many of you are gardeners or have ever planted anything and grown anything, but if you, I have off and on over the years. My grandfather taught me gardening because it's what he liked to do, kind of as a hobby after working all day. As a kid, I grew stuff. I've been around a little bit of agriculture over the years. And I remember one time when I planted something from seed. It was a tomato plant. So I planted the tomato seeds. And then I was really young. So I, planted the seeds and I would look at it a few times a day and I was waiting for something to grow. But nothing was growing yet. So I poked into the dirt to make sure the seed was in there and was moving the dirt around. And then I was like, oh, maybe it needs more water or maybe it needs more fertilization. And I just kept messing with it. And I thought, oh, maybe I need to transplant it and move it into a bigger plant, pot, because it's not growing yet. And I kept messing with it. And what happened is it never grew. It actually died. I'm sure at some point with water, and sunlight, there was a sprout from that seed. But because I was constantly messing with it and poking it and prodding it and was obsessed with it, nothing ever grew. And maybe you've had that experience, maybe you haven't. But what happens when we're overly involved in something, we actually don't promote growth. We promote oppression and we stress something else out. And our business is really a living organism that needs our care and attention. But if we think about it, what actually happens if we overdo it and we're constantly, involved, we're constantly messing with something, or constantly poking and prodding and trying to force it to change. If we're constantly doing that with our business, then it may look like this. And I've been in this position and maybe you can relate too. But if we're working long hours, if we're working 10, 12, 16 hours a day, if we're constantly changing gears and trying to do something different because what we're doing right now doesn't feel like it's working, if we're working on the weekends, officially or unofficially, weekends and nights where we're checking emails or working on things or thinking about work, if we're constantly in an go turned on state where we're trying to make things happen, we can actually create a revenue ceiling. And so I've seen this at different stages. I've seen it where people are starting out and they can't get any traction because they're not, applying what I'm going to share with you today. I've also seen people that are doing a few $100,000, trying to get to that $1 million mark, or maybe even getting closer, maybe just crossing it, but they get stuck there and they can't grow beyond. And the reason for that is that if we don't let our business rest and grow, then we end up, just smothering it. And it's really difficult for it to grow. And it ends up just being all of our own effort. But because we don't turn it off, then we end up just smothering it and killing the business. I was talking to somebody recently and, they said, these are the goals I have. I want to achieve this stuff, but I'm kind of stuck at this level. And I dug in and asked them well, what do you do every day? And, they were starting their day at, 5 or 6 or 7 in the morning and working until 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 at night every day during the week. And then on the weekend, they were still plugged in. They were still staying busy. They were still thinking about work. They were constantly, picking up calls from customers, on the weekend, things like that. And it was really apparent to me that they were so busy that they had created this ceiling on the growth of their business. And that's a thing that we really need to pay attention to, is how do we create an environment where we're actually creating space and time for our business to grow, for our team to grow? How are we setting up the right, boundaries and structure that are going to allow our customers to understand our process and how we can work with them? How are we actually going to create a structure that is the right amount of input, that nurturing, the watering, the, really putting fertilization into the business and really growing the relationships and processes. How do we balance that with also stepping back and letting things sit and marinate and grow and kind of have their own space too? I strongly believe, and I've seen it over and over, that when we treat our business like a living organism and we treat it well, it requires that we treat ourselves well. Tomorrow on the show, I'm going to talk more about how to learn the art of entrepreneurial silence and how it's important to have times of silence and just step back in order to really grow and be successful with our businesses. But as you think about it today, I want to ask you, just to ask yourself, are you smothering your business? Are you overly involved? And is that why things are stuck and you're struggling? Because it's so easy to think that the initial season that we were in business is going to be the season that we carry throughout all of our, entrepreneurial career. And what got us started of being busy and getting off the ground and maybe putting some extra time in for a season will help then. But if we stay in that state, we'll start spinning our tires and we won't be able to grow and, succeed in the long run. So that's the question to ask yourself is, if you're stuck at any level, whether it's a revenue level, ceiling, which is often an indicator that we see, or if there's something else where you're like, I just can't bring in the right help, or I'm stuck with things, then what is causing you to be stuck there? Are you overly involved? Are you the bottleneck? Are you the person doing it all? Or are you working so much that you're not giving yourself and the business and whatever team you may have now, or you plan to build, space to really grow and succeed? Those are the things that we need to think about from a mindset perspective. So I want to open that up today and help you just, consider and ask yourself, why am I stuck here? What am I doing? What behaviors and action am I engaged in that could be impacting this? Because as the leaders of our businesses, as the founders, as the creators, as the entrepreneurs, our attitude, our behavior, how we show up is really what has a massive impact on the business. So today I ask you to think about that and ask yourself, where have I created noise and kind of constraint that's crushing my revenue and not helping me grow? And tomorrow I'm going to talk to you about a really important process. Again, the art of entrepreneurial silence. Silence is kind of what I call it. That will help you unlock and help you, work less, earn more, and really have the business that you want to have. So I appreciate you taking time to tune in today, and I look forward to sharing that with you on the show tomorrow.